talk a little bit.
What happened there?
Well, I don't know whether it's you or whatever it is.
Sorry, I would just like to say I claim absolutely no responsibility for you not paying the electricity bill. But I see it's the entire neighborhood that's
the entire neighborhood.
So maybe somebody's trying to tell you something. This is now the third Tuesday that this is happening.
Yes.
Maybe you should move to a different night.
So, volgende week is for Anglers Live op woensdag aand. And I'm not joking. Is he serious? Next week, for Anglers Live, will be on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock on the Bank Angler Facebook. Ek sou dit in elk geval gesê het, want volgende week Dinsdag is 'n publieke vakansiedag.
And yeah, I thought come on. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to business.
Right, so it was a very interesting and entertaining tournament, to say the least. And before Eskom decided to just put a pause on things, we were having a look at some of the photos. The photo that's there is, of course, of the boats once they've launched, or the vehicles once they've launched the boats. And this is a unique photo because that shows where we were set up. And it was such a beautiful area because we were on top of the hill, right next to Coral Divers, their main office. And we had an entire 270-degree view of what was happening out on the ocean, the bay where the guys were launching, all the way down to Jess's Point. As we can see from this photo here, there wasn't much of a swell, especially in the first 4 days, and although it makes launching very easy, the problem is for fishing, it's a different story because as we know, even in freshwater fishing, you wait for those slightly prefrontal conditions to come through. And that, of course, happened on Thursday. And we made the prediction that there was going to be quite a bit of fish that came out on the Thursday. Now, if we have a look at what happened in terms of the results, day one, Black Pearl with a top boat. Day two was Climax. Day three, Man Size. And then a boat that had everybody smiling because of its name. Day number four, a boat by the name of Ship. That's S-H-I-P. Ship-faced. Yeah, ship-faced. See, even you getting a grin on that one.
Gather on the radio, that can be quite an interesting one.
Yes, I mean, every time because...
Ship-face coming in.
Yeah, Ship-face is beach control. Please, can you come in and tell us where you are and what your catch is? And every time I had to do that, Valerie almost fell off the chair because it's just funny. And then, our top anglers in third position was Elaine Khan from the boat Bite Me. Second was Oki Turnison from the boat Climax. And then first was Warren Miller from the boat Ship-faced.
That pic we're seeing there.
That was probably the biggest billfish that was caught and released. The photo there shows that the billfish is swimming in a controlled position next to the boat. You will see also on the gentleman's arm, there's two bands, a red one and a white one, because they radio to us at Beach Control once they confirm a billfish strike. Then what we do is we relay to them that you need to use these two color armbands or single color armband, and that has to be in the photo when the fish is brought alongside the boat.
It's all controlled, so you can't do a picture from somewhere else.
Exactly, you can't switch out. Now, incidentally, that was the biggest billfish that was caught and released during this tournament, and the estimated weight on that was 550 pounds.
That's a bullfish, eh?
Yeah, that's a black marlin right there.
That's absolutely 550 is a serious bullfish.
That's a serious tussle there, because some guys were going in at 6 kilogram line class, some guys were fishing on 10 kilogram line class, and then of course the guys fishing for the bullfish were going on 37 kilos. We did have an incident where one of the boats out there was fighting a sailfish, a big sailfish, on 10 kilo line.
Wow.
And an hour 37 minutes into a monstrous fight, the fish pulled the hook. So it was such a sad one because, when somebody lands and releases one of these bullfish, they'll call it in, obviously, to Beach Control, and all the other guys are monitoring it. And you just hear the guys, congratulations from this boat, congratulations from that boat. So although these guys from Southern Gauteng, the Southern Gauteng division, they fish for different clubs. Yeah. Okay, the camaraderie is absolutely incredible. You know, the
You're
banter.
competitors, but you're still friends.
Exactly.
But isn't that fishing? Isn't that how we all are?
That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. You know, yes, there are old rivalries. Okay, because I mean that's
But
boys.
it's good rivalry.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And the ladies also came to the party. I mean, in third place we had Natalie Langferner from the boat Voicemail. Second, we had Anneline Grimbeek from the boat Maestro. And then in first place, we had Alta Matthews from the boat Bite Me. Now, the top 5 boats for this tournament, in the 5th place was Jean-Marie. Then we had Climax, we had Bite Me. Second, Ship-Faced. And then in first position was the boat and the team from Bucket List. And just some stats. Although it was very, very difficult fishing, I mean, there were some beautiful green jobfish that were caught there. 1 or 2 big Dorado were caught like 2 days prior, and then there was a smallish Dorado that came out. And just some notable catches from this tournament was, of course, the 3 black marlin that were released on circle hooks. There were some that came off during the tussle. And then obviously we had 5 really good sailfish that was released. And the rare catch in this instance was a fish that we don't really get this far south, which was an 8.4 kilogram dogtooth tuna. So that was a prestigious, a prestigious catch.
Well, excellent, John. Thanks a lot, and I think that was quite an experience that you had. So nice time on the beach.
It was. No. That's where you miss it completely. It was.
I know it's hard work. Any tournament is hard work.
Look, but I have to say one thing, and I just have to give everybody, all the teams, kudos for coming together. The East Rand Boat Fishing Club, they were really, really there all the way, and they were instrumental in putting the entire thing together, which was brilliant.
Okay. We have a cue there about Kenyatta winners.
Oh yeah, Kenyatta. They were the guys that, as the club, okay, they came through tops. So we had we really had a good one. But yeah, will I do it again? Oh yes. No, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun.
Okay, nou gaan ons oor na ons volgende kompetisie toe. En hierdie ene is uit die Oeverhengelaar. En dis vir hierdie prysie, Champion Dips, met 'n katrol wat reeds vol lyn gespoel is, 'n lekker liggie of 2, en it's from Mia's Angling and Scuba. Now, you can't have everything, John.
This is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice reel set from Mia's Benoni. Thank you, Mia's. Okay, so let's have a look. And this one is for YouTube. Okay, so this is especially for the guys on YouTube. And we are going to ask a question. In the center spread, I'll give you a clue, of the Bank Angler, there is a product review done on the DC Pinpoint Limited Editions 12 foot. I want to know the carbon that was used. What is the tonnage rating in terms of the compression on that carbon? And while we are watching Facebook to get the first guy that gets that answer right, kom ons gaan luister 'n bietjie wat Neville vir ons vertel, 'n goeie tip oor hoe om te weet hoe ver jy hengel. En dis nie beteken nie jy moet net kyk nie. Hy het 'n baie interessante manier hoe ons weet of jy 100 of 110 of 65 of 63,5 meter ver vis. Kom ons kyk wat sê hy.
Meetpenne. Daar's 2 verskillende metodes in my opinie hoe jy jou lyne kan uitmeet. Die eerste een en die mees algemeenste is om jou meetpenne in te sit met 'n 5 meter tou tussenin. En dan meet jy jou lyn rondom die penne 5 meter elke keer wat jy omgaan. Jy tel net so bymekaar tot jy op jou gekose afstand is. Die ander metode, hier het ek nog 2 penne in my hand, is om 'n 12 voet stok te gebruik. En dan praat ek van wraps. So in plaas van 5 meter sit jy jou mikpenne 12 voet uitmekaar. Jy vat 'n 12 voet stok soos wat ek in my hand het, sit hom op die grond neer steek jy een pen aan die een kant in en die ander pen aan die ander kant. 'n 12-voet stok is presies 3.6 meter lank en dan kan jy in wraps werk. Nou dis eintlik baie maklik. Sodra jy bietjie met wraps begin werk en dan kan jy uitwerk hoeveel wraps is 'n gekose afstand. Die voordeel van om 12-voet wraps te gebruik in plaas van 'n 5 meter wrap is jy kan stil staan op een plek en jy hoef nie te loop op en af om die stok om die penne te kry nie. So jy kan net stil staan en die stok in jou hande gebruik om jou wraps rondom die penne. So jy maak die afstand tussen die penne kleiner wat die lewe vir jou 'n bietjie makliker maak. Dis die manier hoe ek verkies om dit te doen. Ek gaan dit gou demonstreer en kan julle die verskil mooi sien. Ja, ek het 'n 10-voet stok en ek gaan hom hengel op 70 meter. Dis ongeveer 20 12-voet wraps. Dis net so oor die 70 meter dan. Maak net my klip onswivel oop. Ek kom om die pen en dan gaan ek 20 keer omgaan. Ek gaan stil staan op een plek. Daar het ek nou my 20 wraps uitgemeet en ek weet ek is 71 of 72 meter om presies te wees. Kan jy nou op 'n calculator gaan uitwerk. Ingehaak op die spoel. En wat nou lekker is, ek kan net stil staan soos wat ek gemaak het toe ek die lyn uitgemeet het. Hou die lyn vas, heel belangrikste van alles. Hou die lyn vas tussen jou vinger, wysvinger en duim. En dan gebruik jy die stok en jy gaan net links en regs en die lyn sal van self loskom soos wat dit om die penne gerol is. Soos daar is hy los aan daai kant, los aan daai kant, los aan daai kant en so kan jy net aanhou rol tot jy terug is by jou klip onswivel. En dan weet jy jou stok is presies reg uitgemeet op 70 meter. Een van die heel belangrikste goed wanneer jy jou lyne uitmeet, ongeag of jy dit nou in wraps doen en of wanneer jy dit nou op 5 meter doen, nee, dis die heel belangrikste is moenie jou katrol se remsisteem gebruik en agteruit met die remsisteem rondom die penne gaan nie. Wat dit doen is jy sit spin op jou lyn en twist. So jou lyn gaan verskriklik swaar kry daaronder. Julle sou gesien het terwyl ek dit gedoen het, het ek die back reel aangesit en gebackwind en ek beheer dit net met die hand wat my stok vashou. So wanneer ek om die penne gaan, al wat ek doen is ek beheer dit net met my vingers terwyl ek omgaan. Op daai manier weet ek sit geen ekstra onnodige stremming op my lyn wat twist gaan veroorsaak dat ek afgooi en allerlei kraanneste en goed kry. So dit is verskriklik belangrik. Ek sien baie hengelaars wat hulle lyne uitmeet, dan gebruik hulle die buiterander of die buitfeeder of die remsisteem. Dis nie die manier om dit te doen nie. Leer dit af, leer jouself om dit so te doen met die backwind, dan sal dit baie beter gaan.
Baie dankie aan Kingfisher wat vir ons daardie insetsel van Sodwana en die gesels met John moontlik gemaak het. Thank you guys down in Durban. You also guys that support the saltwater fishing very, very well. Goed, en ons het 'n wenner. Nou, ons Facebook vriende het verwoed geantwoord hierso. So ons kon nog 10 wenners uit die Facebook uit gekry het, maar nee, ons gaan nie, want dit was 'n YouTube antwoord wat ons nodig gehad het. En die wenner, die antwoord was 46 ton. En die regte antwoord is gegee deur Morney Mostert. Baie geluk Morney. Allee, hier is vir jou 'n lekker hampertjie. Nou ja, nou gaan ons gesels en nou gaan ons praat oor bass. Baarshengel.
Daai olyfgroen is met die groot bek.
Daai olyfgroen is met die groot bek.
Die bek is nie amper so groot as myne, maar
nee, jy sien, dit kan nie. Dis almal groot. John, tell us about this time of the year and bass fishing.
Look, in my personal experience that I've had over the last couple of years, we tend to have this notion that when winter comes, people say, well, somebody actually mentioned on Facebook the other day, is it true that in the months without the R that we don't fish? And somebody actually said, kid, you need to go back to school.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's not being rude, but we've always had that. It's an old school myth that in the months without the R, you don't fish. Because
it's just more difficult.
It's more difficult. Yeah. But you as a dedicated angler will also know that if you put the time and the dedication in, yes, you're not going to catch the quantity of fish, but your quality of fish is going to be really, really good. Now, we find ourselves in a very unique situation. We've had 1 or 2 cold fronts that have come through, and we're sitting now in late autumn, and we're just about to go into the threshold of winter when bass and a lot of other species start getting what we know as lockjaw, and you really have to slow your presentations, your finesse style fishing and everything down. But we still have those golden opportunities, when you go out to places like Bronkhorstspruit, De Winter, Rudekoppies, Witbank Dam, a lot of the places, and also your slightly northern dams like Arabi, Makolo, and so on, where you still have the bass that'll, on those quiet autumn days, that late autumn day when the sun is there, it's just before night falls, and you get that chill where they will take buzzbaits, whopper ploppers, that kind of stuff on the surface. And funny enough, if you have just the right temperature elements, then you could probably have an early morning topwater bite on the likes of buzzbaits and poppers and so on as well. But the fish are very geared towards, if you're using plastics, for instance, they're very geared towards either something that looks extremely natural, so something that looks like a natural bait fish, or something that, your normal natural colors, if you call the green pumpkin seed with a blue flake or a green flake, that kind of stuff.
Look at them.
So this is basically just a trick worm that we've done, and this is basically just like a Mardi Gras kind of trick worm. But, it's a very nice, easy bait to fish, especially when fish are starting to slow down. You can fish this wacky style. You can fish it as
What is wacky style?
Wacky style, basically, I think the best way that the guys fish wacky style is where you have a little O-ring that goes over the actual bait itself, and you'll have the hook pinned into the top, and then obviously you have a dropper down to a small little sinker. And literally when the bass are sitting there, sitting slightly suspended off the bottom, basically just bounces in front of them until they get annoyed and they'll eat it. But like I was saying, we're in that unique time where the bass can feel the temperature changing. Nighttime temperatures are getting colder, so they will be on a bit of a feeding now, because they know that the colder and leaner months are coming when the bait fish start disappearing, and they need to stock up. And if you put the time and the effort in, yes, you can still catch some really good bass. I mean, we were up at Rudekoppies 2 weeks ago, and between three of us, we caught 90 bass for the day.
Wow.
Biggest was probably about 2.4 kilos, and we got a lot of those fish on Ned rig. Now, I don't know if you have fished a Ned rig.
Yes,
it's one of those styles of fishing that has come into the country, and it came in late from the States. But during winter, during your pre-spawn, and now this time of the year, when you find the bass are just a little bit finicky, when you bounce that off the bottom there, it's probably still one of the most effective baits at the moment.
Just explain to our viewers what is the difference, or how Ned rig is different, and what unique opportunity it gives you.
Well, with a Ned rig, you have your fish that bass are inherently curious. Okay, so let's say, for instance, this is one of the baits that we make, which we fish either, sliding mojo style, or you can fish it on a Texas or a Carolina, or you can fish it, since it's a paddle tail, you can basically just fish it as a weightless kind of bait. Now, when you have a Ned rig, your Ned rig is designed in such a way that no matter where you cast it, it'll always land with a hook right up.
What does it look like? How does it look different?
It's your normal jigs, okay, will have a rounded head or a football jig or something like that. Whereas the Ned rig, the one section is flat, which will always cause the hook to stand proud. Now, if you have, just to put you in the picture, you have this sitting there on this little sinker, and it lands tail up every time, and you just bounce this little thing. It looks like a little worm or a grub, foraging. And that, for our friend the bass, is probably one of the most enticing. And where people make the mistake on Ned rig fishing is, as soon as they feel the thump, they tend to wait for the line to pull, and then they strike. And that's where people make the biggest mistake, because you must just clamp down, reel, pull the rod sideways. And once you master Ned rig fishing, it can become one of the deadliest methods. And then obviously the other method will be for your slightly smaller baits, like these boygies, drop shot. This time of the year, when the bass are sitting suspended, they're not sure whether they want to go to the deeper water. They're not sure whether they want to come hunting. So they'll be sitting in that, I'd say probably about a 3-4 meter contour. You bounce this around enticingly on a drop shot, and you might end up catching your PB this time of the year.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, the last question before I go to that, nicely, I don't know what imported computerized.
Yeah. We'll get to those.
little bait fish that looks very natural. Our bank anglers and our specimen guys that just go for a weekend and put out some lines for big carp, in the time that they wait, where should they go look for bass?
Look, this time of the year, you got to try and find spots where your bait fish and your insects are going to be concentrated the most. Now, we get different aquatic weeds in our waterways. One in particular is what is commonly known as oxygen weed. Now, when you look at the process, okay, the photosynthesis process that happens in the water, and it's been proven that with oxygen weed, the water temperature within that clump of oxygen weed is usually 1 to 1.5 degrees warmer than the surrounding water, which means that your insects, your little dragonflies, that kind of stuff, are going to hold out there, which is going to bring your smaller species, your little tilapias and so on that feed on there. And obviously that's going to bring your predators. So if you can identify those spots, or where you've got something that is man-made, bass tend to love man-made structure more than natural structure, funny enough.
Jetties and those type of things.
Yes. So if you have a unique situation where you've got maybe a little bit of a weed bed with a jetty, okay, and the bonus on top of that, the trifecta would be that in between those two, you might have a little bit of rock. Because what happens when the sun hits the rock, it's going to heat that up. And of course,
so
that
the water in that area is a little bit
correct.
warmer.
So those are the spots where I'll go. And you know what I usually tell anglers, especially beginners, is make a long cast, okay? Burn it back. Make the same cast, okay? Slow it down. Then make a third cast and slow it right down. Wait, and we even then say dead stick it. Yeah. Let it sit there. Twitch it once or twice.
How long would you dead stick at the most?
Vanna, to be honest with you, okay? Ask a woman, okay? and the reason why I'm saying this is I took Valerie. She had never drop shot before. She was also new to the ultra finesse sliding mojo style fishing. We took her to Bronkhorstspruit. The water temperature was 12 degrees. The ambient temperature was 16. It was a bitterly cold day. And for every cast, or I'd say for every 10 casts, somebody like you and I would make, and we would call slow, we know women have more patience. And she made one cast for every 10 that I made, and she would sit there, relax, have a cold drink, one twitch, oops, fish on. In the meantime, I'm already standing there getting frustrated with the place, and I want to leave. Yeah. And subsequently on that day, she outfished 3 different crews on 3 different boats, including myself and my other partner.
By doing almost nothing.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Sometimes that's what you've got to do. Okay, now, John, we're going to give away a nice pack of wolf lures, but just first tell me about that thing. Yeah.
So, Vanna, somebody said to me, how did you come up with the signature series? And the signature series is unique to our brand of lures. There you'll see it. It looks, this one in particular, I painted to look like a peacock bass.
You painted it?
Somebody said to me, listen, do you use an airbrush? No.
Yes, of course, or computerized. It looks like it comes out of some sort of a mold.
No, every single one of these, the raw body is molded. Then we use a super adhesive to put the eyes on. Yeah. And then I lay them out and I put them in batches of 8. And every single one of these baits, I sit and paint with different brushes. I sit and I paint them. I make sure that the detail is there. I make the markings on them. And then we superheat them so that the colors are sealed in. And that's what makes these totally unique.
You really put a signature on that.
I could if I want to.
Yeah, but I mean, with that type of art on it. It's not just a...
I mean, if we have a look, and if somebody has a set of these, I mean, that is, and that's just to demonstrate. There we've got 2 exactly the same that would come from the same packet, but you can see on each one, the markings are different because you have to be incredibly, how can I say, talented, and I'm not saying that I'm not, to make them each identical.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the signature series so unique.
Yeah, because everyone looks slightly different. It's like fingerprints.
I wanted to create stuff that if I'm going fishing and I'm going drop shot fishing, or I want to fish for bass at places like Loskop Dam or whatever, And I know they're feeding on redbreast kerper, I wanted to fish with a bait that looks like a redbreast kerper. If I'm going down to Clan William and I'm fishing for smallmouth bass, I want to fish with something that looks like a juvenile bluegill. If I'm going to Natal and I'm fishing there, I wanted to have something that looks like a Natal scaly or a juvenile carp.
Well, you've got that right. I'm really impressed. So where can our viewers buy these?
Look, the easiest way is to get a hold of us. We are busy constructing our website at the moment. We do have a Facebook page, and people can just message us directly from the Facebook page. And although it is locally manufactured, okay, we have not skimped on the quality in terms of the plastisol, the paint, the effort, and everything. And even I'll just show you here quickly. For instance, the flukes. A nice little junior 4-inch fluke.
Yeah.
We've actually not skimped on the material quality and so on. So if anybody wants to get a hold of him, they simply, go and send us a message on our Facebook page, Wolf Lures. It's the one with the blue wolf paw print. It says Wolf Lures, Flowers and Feathers.
And is it?
There's the logo right there. Oh, but I don't know if the camera will be. Almost. There, you see? You see?
Okay, that's Wolf Lures.
So
so we're giving away that.
We're giving away a box which includes a limited edition set of Signature Series. We've got some really nice trick worms. We've got, and there's some people that'll never go fishing for bass without this, called the Saboko. And then we've got some judder worms.
Why Saboko?
We wanted to give our baits uniquely South African names. Everybody can call a fluke, or everybody can call it a jerk minnow, or somebody can call it a trick worm. And we decided, let's be different, So when people say, what is a Saboko? Then Valerie is just cueing us there. Your eyesight is better than me. I thought your eyesight was better.
So it's a grub in South Africa?
Yeah, it's a grub in Sotho. Okay, so there we go. Saboko means grub in Sotho. So
that's a language lesson. Okay.
Get educated.
Yes,
on the
I
digital
am.
Network.
Yes, I learned a couple of things today.
So did I.
Yeah, I thought those nicely computerized painting that was done there is actually done by the hand. Okay, ons gaan vir julle 'n vraagie vra uit die stywelyne uit en ons gee vir julle weg 'n lekker pak van Wolf Lures spesiaal vir die laat herfs en die winter.
In die boks.
Saam met die boks. So, elke maand in die stywelyne is daar 'n lekker interessante artikel oor bassingel. Hierdie ene het gegaan oor junk fishing in the late post-spawn by Tyron Mortimer. En hy het vir ons 6 verskillende ase gegee en hulle is elkeen mooi geïllustreer in 6 mooi prentjies. Ek wil hê jy moet vir my 3 van daardie 6 gee. Ja, daai het ons nou van gepraat. Ja. So daar is 6 van hulle. As jy vir my 3 gee op Facebook, dan het jy en jy's eerste, dan kry jy daai pakkie Wolf Lures. Intussen kyk ons in Performance Corner na wat het ons wenners van die Safofees te sê gehad oor hulle prestasie. Ons staan hier by Bierman en is die einde van die Safof spele of die Safof fees, as ons dit so kan noem. Dit was 'n geweldige moeilike naweek. Daar het koue fronte oorgekom Vrydag en alles. Maar op die einde van die dag het ons in Performance Corner gaan kyk na wie uitsonderlik presteer. Anton Engelbreg hier het gewen by die seniors in die A-zone. Anton, vertel ons van jou dag.
Ja, was wonderlik. Dit was vroeg in die oggend, visie vroeg begin byt. Laat middag bietjie begin stil raak, maar yes, dit was wonderlik. Mooi visies, mooi muddies. Kan nie complain nie. Baie lekker dag gewees.
Wat was jou plan geweest? Hoe het jy te werk gegaan?
Ek het, toe ek voor te begin het, was ek klaar 2 combos uitgesit waarmee ek gaan begin het. Wieks en Lotie en die ander een was stinkvoete en lood.
Ja.
En Wieks en Lotie het oorgevat.
Wat 'n afstand het jy gegee?
65 en 75.
Okay, so dit was redelik naby geweest.
Ja.
Komende van die OP, hoe gereeld hengel jy Maries daar? Is jy gewoon aan? Glad nie.
Glad.
So dit was 'n nuwe
Was 'n
ervaring.
nuwe ervaring.
Clean slate.
Ja, nee, dit is, kyk, jy het Ellisdale is moggels, maar
Ja.
is nie dieselfde gehalte nie. Dit is soos maar alles te vis. So, maar otherwise was dit baie lekker geweest, lekker ondervinding geweest.
Wat het jy nou gedoen? Vertel ons 'n bietjie van jou eindgery. Hoeke, tipe stroppe, hoeklengtes, sizes.
Rietglei, nommer 2 is, maggots gehengel, en nommer 1, sinkertjie. Dis maar wat ek gehengel het, die hele.
Het jy van die begin af op 65 en 75 begin vir die dag?
Van die begin af.
Het jy van die begin af Maries geteken?
Ja, van die oggend af het ek begin om hulle te kyk het. So ja, ek was eintlik surprised geweest dat die Maries vroeg aan die byt gekom het, want die geeles was in die begin was hulle daar en agterna toe die Maries
Die Marie.
Ja,
En toe gaan die geeles.
toe gaan die geeles weg, ja.
Het jy maggots op al twee hoeke gehad?
Al twee hoeke.
Okay. Hoeveel maggots?
So 4 op elke hoek.
Lewendig of dood?
Dood.
Okay. Die margin in die zone was baie naby geweest. Dit was 35 gram geweest wat jy mee gewen het. Dit het jou toe die overall wenner gemaak van die dag. Was die persoon wat tweede was hy naby aan jou?
Ja, hy was reg langs my.
Reg langs jou. Okay, so julle het mekaar gejaag.
Ja, was reg langs my, pen nommer 3, ja.
Hoe was die gevoel geweest daar tussen julle twee?
Baie lekker, baie kompetering.
Ja.
Dit was lekker en wat vir my lekker was, dit was 'n protea hengelaar wat langs my gesit het. So was vir my baie meer uitdaging geweest.
Ja.
Om uit te gaan om te kyk of ek hom kan wen. So op 'n vandag ja, dit het gewerk, maar kyk hy was baie naby, baie naby. Gee hom eer, hy het goed opgevat.
Wel, daar sê jy het op die dag gaan dit oor die hengel en wat jy inweeg
Dis hy.
en jy het 'n protea hengelaar uitgestop vir die dag.
Dis hy.
En well done, jy daar van die Kaap af gekom. Sê vir my net 'n bietjie meer in terme van die naweek. Wat is jou grootste leerpunte geweest?
Kyk, stiek met wat jy glo. Moenie jou ore uitleer. As jy glo in iets, bly by dit. Moenie chop and change, net as jy sien 'n ou langs jou van vis nie. Ek meen, hou net aan glo wat jy aan glo. Dit is my motto. Ek dink dit is een ding wat almal moet aan vir homself dink.
Ja.
As jy die oggend besluit het jy wil 80 hengel 80. Moenie change voor jy begin nie.
Het jy gister ook gehengel?
Gister ook. Ja.
Wat is die leerpunt wat jy saamgebring het van gister af na vandag?
Gister was ek tweede my job. En ja, nee, kyk, ek het so klein bietjie verander aan my kombos teenoor gister en dit het my deur vandag. So dit is net daai klein tegniese punt wat ek toe verander het.
Het jy gister ook Maries gevang?
Ja, gister ook. Gister het ek 29.
En vandag 35. Well done. Dis ons Performers Corner van die week. Baie geluk en mooi ry terug onder toe.
Baie dankie.
En gaan leer die manne daar om te kom Maries vang.
Daar sê sal so maak.
Well done.
Daar sê.
Goeiemiddag almal. Ons is hier vanmôre by Tuisvoerie. Hy was gister ons algehele wenner by die senior afdeling gewees hier by die 9de SAFOF spele by Valdam. Gister was Saterdag gewees. Tuis, wat dink jy het vir jou die verskil gemaak om op hierdie oewer waar daar so baie seniors is wat deelneem, die as overall winner weg te stap?
Ek dink die belangrikste was maar om kol te hengel en die voer op die regte plek te sit. En dit is basies wat ek gedoen het. Ek het aangehou werk op 'n kolletjie en dit is die ding wat vir my die beste deurgekom het.
Wat vir my belangrik is op watter afstande het jy gehengel?
Ek het op 75 en 70 gehengel en die hele dag op dit gewerk. So ja, dit het vir my baie mooi deurgekom, ja.
Was daar 'n spesifieke aas wat jy gebruik het?
Lotie. As die vis stil raak, het ek net bietjie meer lotie opgegooi. En ja, dit is wat ek gehengel het nie.
Is daar 'n spesifieke voerplan wat jy gebruik het? Jy sê jy het wel bietjie gevoer op die kolletjie.
Ja, ek het boulyn met bietjie grits ingehengel en dit is al wat ek gehengel het.
Okay, Thys, maar baie geluk. Baie trots op jou en jy kan maar vir die kykers wys hoe lyk jou trofee wat jy gistermiddag gekry het.
Hoor, baie dankie.
Okay, dankie.
Dankie.
Goeiemiddag, ons is hier by die 9de SAFOF spele, dis Sondagmiddag En ek staan hier saam met Reinhard Pinaar en hy is ons junior onder 19 Victor Ledorn en ek wil eers vir jou sê baie geluk Reinhard, goed gedoen. En vertel 'n bietjie vir ons kykers, wat was jou voorbereidingsplan gewees om na die Safo-spele te kom en deel te neem?
Wel Tannie, my voorbereidingsplan was eers om die voor te hengel op 45 meter, om te kyk of ek die klein visies kan kry, maar die plan het vinnig verander om dieper te gaan. Die vis was baie dieper as wat ek gedink het dit gaan wees, en ek het dadelik al 2 stokke baie dieper geskuif. Die een stok was op 75 en die ander was op 115. En dit is waar ek my vis die hele dag gekry het.
Moes jy deur die dag ander tipe planne beraam met aas en voer en sulke goeders, of het jy toe jy die oggend begin het, dadelik by jou plan gehou en die hele dag daardeur gesien?
Ek het nie veel verander met my plan nie Tannie, maar ek het verander met klein goedjies soos die flouties. Ek het dit geruil met vampire en skoonwit en dit afgewissel om meer vis te vang.
Sê gou 'n bietjie vir ons kykers, hoeveel vis het jy gevang en wat was jou gewig gewees van die kilos?
Ek het 17 vis gevang vir 14 kilos Tannie.
Baie geluk Reinhard en mag julle veilig terugry huis toe en ons sien julle volgende jaar weer by die spele.
Baie dankie Tannie.
Baie dankie aan Supercast wat vir ons daardie insetsel moontlik gemaak het. John, nou gee ons iets anders terweg. Nee, jy mag hom nie vat nie. Maar jy is nou baie meer van 'n basshengelaar as ek. My bass PB is net 5 kg. Nee, 4.99.
Oh, shame.
Sê vir ons, wat dink jy van daai stok en katrol?
You know what? Sensational angling has always prided themselves on bringing some really good quality, affordable, high-end gear to South Africa.
Yeah.
The Dark Shadow is a 2-piece benchmark rod. I mean, you have a look at the quality of those grips over there. You have a look at the quality of the bottom, the graphite, the finish, okay? Your hook keeper. It's a quality product, okay? At an affordable price. The reels, I just love the little, the bats on the handles.
The bats on
and we were just saying, you know, let's not eat any more bats because we don't need to lose the world or the world needs to lose its mind. But very, very, very nice setup. And, you know, as I mentioned, and I keep coming back to it, you don't have to break the bank to have quality. The nice thing about a 2-piece, a lot of guys will argue and say, 1 piece, 1 piece, 1 piece. Yeah, I understand the merit. But, you know, nowadays, because of economics, people drive smaller cars. You want to fold it up, know that it's safe and it's not going to break, and stick it behind the seat or put it in a rod sleeve.
And I can see, we used to say in bank angling that 2-piece rods will never be good enough to cast the distances that the guys are.
And at the recent clinic at Rudderkoppies,
the guys cast 180 meters with the 2-piece rod.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's give it away. Jy moet 'n lid wees van 4 Anglers, aangesluit het in die laaste 2 weke as 'n premier lid, die laaste 4 weke as 'n premier lid, of jy moet op die 4 Anglers Bass distribusielys wees vir die notifications vir al die artikels wat op 4 Anglers opgaan. Okay, so al daai name is in 'n hoed op 'n wiel. Kom ons kyk. Gooi ons van daar op. Julle is op 'n wiel in 'n hoed en ons gaan spin en as jou naam opkom as die wenner, dan word hierdie pragtige hamper afgelewer met die komplimente van JKJ Express. Dankie Neville Ridiker en jou span dat jy so getrou vir ons hierdie goed aflewer. Gooi hom, laat ons sien wie is die wenner. En ek hoop ek kan lees daar as ek 'n verkyker opsit. En die wenner is Johan Leroux. Johan Leroux, baie geluk. Hier is jou pakkie, afgelewer deur JKJ Express. En by the way, Neville is ook 'n baie goeie basshengelaar. So, daar's hy. Dit conclude vir ons die members kompetisie en ek wil baie dankie sê. Dis nou tyd om te sê dankie. Eerstens vir ons gas. Dit was lekker om saam met jou te kuier hier. Dis lekker om iemand te hê wat so baie praat, wat meer praat as ek. En ek wil vir jou sê van For Anglers Live af, baie dankie. Daar's hy, as jy nou daar op Sodwana gaan sit, en jy beman die radiostasie of die beach control, kan jy vir jou koffie gooi, maar nie polisie koffie nie.
Dis winter. Almal het polisie koffie nodig of soos wat hulle sê, antifreeze.
Being an Irish, I've got to tell you the Irish joke.
Yes.
About Paddy that came to his friend and said, listen, Patrick, I've got the latest Irish invention. And he says, what's that? He says, it's the thermal flask. He says, what is the thermal flask? He says, it is this. He says, well, how does that work? He says, no, it keeps cold things cold and hot things hot. He says, why? And what do you got inside there? He says, coffee and ice cream. So, enjoy your flask.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Nou ja, baie dankie aan Gys Spitzer en Orion en ons ander borge wat vir ons hierdie program moontlik gemaak het. En ek het nie gegrap toe ek gesê het volgende week is die program op Woensdag aand nie, want Dinsdag gaan ons visvang. Ons gaan nie hier wees nie. Dis 'n vakansiedag. Ons sien julle Woensdag aand 7 uur volgende week. Selfde tyd, selfde plek. Daar sê ons is terug.
Surprise! See, you know what? We had to recap because of what happened early on.
Ja.
So like, what are we going to chat about now?
Nou,
Oh, by the way, hey,
the
guess what?
next program. Wolf Lewis, die wenner. Die antwoorde wat ons gesoek het was frog, spinnerbait, wacky head, weightless buzzbait
what?
of jerkbait.
Okay.
That was the 6.
Okay.
We needed 3.
Yes.
The
Who got-
first
who got
correct
the
answer was Johanel.
Yeah, no. I
Yeah.
hope you're a bass angler, and
Okay.
I hope you're going to catch some big fish.
Jy gaan lekker vis vang.
Dis Johan nou.
Nou sê ons regtig tot ziens.
Jonah.
Dankie.
Bye.